Hey, good evening, everybody. It has taken me all day long to get to this point. I was so busy today, but I didn't want Monday to end without this installation of Monday Musings. I'm still getting used to the name Monday Musings with Mason. Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about some stuff that I read last week and do kind of like a little history segment. So I'm going to set you up right there. I'm sitting in my little corner here where I like to do my reading and my studying, and just a few things that I'm reading right now. So just to go over what I'm doing, I'm using Michelle Miller's Truth Quest History Guides to kind of read my way through history. And so right now, I am on, this is the beginnings book, and I have just gotten past day 7 of rest in creation. And for her book, I just read through chapter or lesson 11, that's called Questions: Days, Young or Old Earth, Evolution, Dinosaurs. And she's got some interesting things. I thought I'd share like a few of the really good books that she has listed here. One's called Streams of Civilization. I actually put that back up on my shelf already, but these are some great books for the kiddos who want to learn a little bit more about where the dinosaurs fit into the creation story. And were they there with Adam and Eve? Were they there when Noah put all the animals? Well, Noah didn't put all the animals on the ark. God brought all the animals to the ark to be put on the ark. Just read a little bit about that the last couple of days. So these are some fun books. This one, and most of these books my kids and I have read through when they were younger. This is Dinosaurs by Design by Duane Gish, who also wrote this really great book. It's right here, called The Amazing Story of Creation. So, and this just kind of gives you an overview of the 7 days of creation and a little bit afterwards and what life was like in the Garden of Eden. As you can see, there were some dinosaurs there. This was another really fun one that we enjoyed, The Great Dinosaur Mystery and the Bible. So just another really good talk about dinosaurs and creation and where they fit in. And this was my son's favorite book. It was Dragons of the Deep, Ocean Monsters, Past and Present. And so it just talks about just the giant creatures like them. Oh gosh, what is it called now? It's like this giant shark, mega something. Anyway, oh, there he is. And I think there was a horror movie made about this, the Megalodon. So like think great white and then like whale size. So yeah, just ridiculously big. Oh yeah. And this guy, Mosasaurus, he kind of looks like a giant alligator gar. This is kind of interesting. Anyway. And then this one, is this one of the ones that's listed? No, because we're not there yet in this, but this is another really good one, In the Days of Noah. So it just talks about his building of the ark and the animals. What was it like for Noah and his family before the flood? Were there dinosaurs on the ark? How long did the flood really last? What does Mount St. Helens tell us about the flood? We'll be talking about that. So, but what's interesting is I'm studying through history, but as I'm studying through history, I'm realizing I also need to study science and philosophy. And we're throwing in a little bit of art in there. And it's just been really, really, like, you can't just leave it at history. It's just actually really cool. So I did make some notes in a little book. And so just these past readings, there'll probably be a lot of questions brought up by this video just because I'm kind of like, I haven't given you a lot of foundational stuff of what I've learned. This is just what I read this past week. So in the history book called Streams of Civilization, which is written for 9th to 12th graders, it's more of a textbook, but it's a Christian-based worldview for the textbook. And so in chapter 1, just some points I thought were interesting was that it's really difficult to date anything past about 4,000 years ago because carbon dating, like it talks about all the different ways that scientists are able to date things, and quite a few of them are very inaccurate or not very accurate. I even remember taking an archaeology class in college, and I remember the teacher say, the textbook itself saying, so carbon-14 dating is about 74% accurate. And I'm sorry, 74% accurate isn't accurate enough for me. Like if you were going to the doctor and you had a test done and he said, well, this test is about 74% accurate. There's a 74% chance that it's right, that you have this, whatever. Like even like a COVID test. If the COVID test was 74% accurate, would you really feel very confident about that test? I wouldn't. I'd want more tests, and I would want more information. So anyway, there's all that. It's very interesting. I don't know this particular edition when it was written. I want to say it was like in the 1990s. But I just thought that it was interesting, just kind of in the climate right now, how they defined racism. And racism is the belief that some races, and it has the word races in quotes, the belief that some races have evolved further than others. And so that's part of the problem with evolution. And so it also discusses evolution versus creationism, both of which are theories. And because they're theories, and neither of them can be proven to be laws, because in order to prove that something is a law, you have to have been there to see it actually, the things that it's saying, that's theorizing about, take place, and then evaluate it and make some proofs on it. Well, we can't prove that creation happened, except that we have the Word of God telling us that that's how it happened. And so it's interesting that it said, and then the other thing that it said was, and it's the same with evolution. We weren't there when the first little cell evolved into a little mucky creature and then crawled up out of we weren't there. So we can't prove that that's actually how it happened. We can't prove that there was a big bang and started everything into motion. So either way, you're working off assumptions and faith. And so really, the theories of evolution and creationism are both faith-based theories. If you are ascribed to one or either of those theories, it's based on faith. It's based on something you believe. So that is part of my frustration in the schools, all these years. I mean, even back when I was in school, teaching evolution as fact and as law, because it has not been proven as law. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't teach the theory of evolution, but if they're going to teach the theory of evolution, they should teach it alongside other theories like divine design and creationism, and let the children have the full scope of information about all those theories and let them decide for themselves which theory they'd like to ascribe to. Just saying. So anyway, so all that. So the problem that we have with evolution is that if you keep going down the road of evolution, then you see that according to the theory of evolution, and natural selection and all of that, that the people who ascribe to that theory believe that races evolved at some point and at different rates. And if you believe in creationism and the theory of creationism, then you have learned through the Bible that everybody came from Adam and Eve, and that there are no such things as races. We are all the same race. We are the human race. And if you're a Christian and you believe in creationism, then there's no possible way you can be racist. Ooh, I'm going to get some comments on that one. I know I am, but I don't know. You don't have to take it up with me. You need to take it up with God about that one. I just thought it was very interesting. Like, it got my little gears turning on that one. So, one of the things that she had us read, besides Streams of Civilization, is this awesome book. And if you haven't picked up this book, or don't have this in your library or on your Kindle or whatever, you need to. 100%. Every single person does, whether you're a believer or not, or whether you believe in evolution or creationism or nothing. You need to pick up this book. It's very interesting. And this is like a book club level kind of book. Lots of really interesting discussion would come from this book. So it's Seven Men Who Rule the World from the Grave by David Breese. And we were to read the first 2 chapters of this book, and it talks about Darwin, and it talks about the theory of evolution, his theory of evolution. And so little bits that I got from it. First of all, in chapter 1, natural selection is a circuitous argument. This is a common fallacy. A circuitous argument is a type of common fallacy, is what it's saying. Sometimes these go unrecognized because the circuitous circle, is so large. It is obvious then that one wonders why science has become the object of such wide and uncritical respect. And I thought that point that David Breese wrote was very interesting and very timely right now with people. He's said throughout that particular chapter and the next chapter, he keeps commenting on how science is law now. Science is like, if a scientist says it, then it must be, the Bible. It must be infallible, And, if you keep following the theory of evolution and you think the theory of evolution is law, then the rest of your science is going to be flawed. And your perspective on how you look at results of scientific things is going to be very flawed. You really need to look at it from a much more well-rounded approach, or just see statistics as statistics and don't put your little twist on what you think those statistics might mean. It's just very interesting. It just really, again, just got my little gears turning. Another quote that I took from here was, "The unquestioned acceptance of Darwinism by the world of science and the men of science is a present condition that should not go unchallenged." This is not a new book. This was copyrighted in 1990. So, anyway, chapter 2, thinking further about science. Quote, "Science and the scientists have taken to themselves credentials deemed unassailable in our culture." Okay. Another quote, "Science has been inflated to the point that it is assumed that science knows it all and can tell us anything." And then I stopped taking notes because I was too busy reading and like just going, yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh. Again, that was all written in 1990. That's not something that was just written now or made up now. So clearly this has been an ongoing issue and it just seems to be getting worse. And that's all I have to say about that. So as we're moving on, some videos to recommend if you want to like know a little bit more about what I'm talking about. There is a number of, and you don't feel like reading all the books. In fact, I have a couple of books here that I do want to read, and I don't know how I'm going to get through these things. But we have Darwin's Black Box by Michael Behe. And this is the 10th anniversary edition, so this was written quite a bit ago. The Biochemical Challenge to Evolution, and then Lee Strobel's Case for a Creator. So he wrote The Case for Christ, and then he did further research and wrote this book, The Case for a Creator. During his academic years, Lee Strobel became convinced that God was outmoded, a belief that colored his ensuing career as an award-winning journalist at the Chicago Tribune. Science had made the idea of a creator irrelevant, or so Strobel thought. So that's going to be a good one too. And I think there was a movie made by that one too, about or based on this book. But also, so if you wanted some movies, because you didn't think that maybe you could get through these books in a timely manner, or you just don't have time and you just want to get all the information in as quickly as possible, there are a few. Creation versus Evolution by Dr. Kent Hovind. I haven't looked these up, but I'm assuming most of these are probably on YouTube, or you can get them from some kind of streaming service. And if you can't, I know like the ones there's two here on that were done by Mike Riddle, and so you can get those off of pretty much any Christian like Christian book distributor, or even directly from the source, Master Books Publications, the Creation Science Institute, and then also, of course, the Answers in Genesis will have all these, so you can buy them from their websites. Dating Fossils and Rocks and the Fossil Record by Mike Riddle. Origin of Life, and then also Origin of Humans by Mike Riddle. Darwin's Dilemma is another good one. It says, she has little notes on here. Looks like a high budget production showing Cambrian fossil record not aligning with Darwinism. Ooh, if you want a really good one about just about how evolution has just gone totally mainstream in our schools, and what to do about it, you can watch Expelled by Ben Stein. I've seen that one. That one is really, really good. He explains a lot of good things. Modern science usually expels discussion of creation science. And then this one sounds really interesting. I might have to look this one up. The Grand Canyon Catastrophe. So then I'm on to lesson 12, and it's back to reading the Bible, which is great. Just finishing up chapter 2, and she has some notes. And so I'm going to be working on that this week, as well as finishing up Adam and His Kin, which is just basically studying the whole of Adam and what life was like in the garden before the fall, and then in the garden and out of the garden after the fall, and then all of Adam's descendants, including Noah. So I'm at Noah. I'm just about to start the Great Flood. So I believe this takes us pretty much through, the first 11 chapters of Genesis, just in story form. So it's been really interesting, and Ruth Beechick has kind of added in a lot of like historical nuances and things that you wouldn't get just reading straight from the Bible, or you wouldn't find it reading chronologically, not chronologically, but just reading straight through the Bible, chapters 1 through 11, because chapter 2 of Genesis really actually goes back and gives further detail to the happenings in chapter 1. And so she kind of includes it all from the very beginning, from the very beginning of her book. So that's just my little bit. I've been on here for 20 minutes already, so I just wanted to just kind of share some things that I'm learning, share some things that I'm thinking about. Just because I'm talking about them doesn't mean that they're just things that I'm processing. And I would love to hear what you think. And if you've read any of these books or would like to read them or find out more information about them, or would like to join me in my journey of history reading and have a discussion, that would be great. So go ahead and pop your questions and comments in the comment section, and we'll see what we come up with. All right. Happy Monday. See you tomorrow. Bye.